Hi, Todd Martin here. In this combined Tai Chi Code walking code video, I'm going to demonstrate one of the most important combinations or techniques in Tai Chi, and that is grasp the sparrow's tail. In grasp the sparrow's tail, we see all 8 of the fundamental Tai Chi techniques being used in one sequence. We're going to begin by stepping out on the right heel. We roll the arms up, shift forward in a motion called ward off, turn the arms out, and then we sink back in a motion called roll back, and then we wind the arms up and together, and then we do a motion called press, then a motion that's going to take place in 3 different parts called push. I push forward to open the arms, I push back to sink back and prep the strike, and then I push forward. All 3 of those movements are push. And then I'm going to sink back, and then I'm going to turn around, and then we do another technique after that. So let me show you from the side view. We're going to step out onto the right heel, turn the right arm up, shift forward and ward off, turn the arms out, shift back and roll back, rotate the arms, left hand or left palm to the right wrist, shift forward and press, and then push open, push back, push forward. Then we're going to sink back and turn the body, and then we're going to prep another motion after that that's going to be called single whip. So let's look at the rotation going on and the techniques going on during grasp the sparrow's tail. I'm going to step out using press, which is torsional rotation on the right and flexion of the right hip, the same way I stepped out in brush knee and the same way I stepped out in parting the wild horse's mane. And then I'm going to circle the arms up. When I circle my right arm up, I'm going from press, so torsion on my right, to elbow strike, which is concordant counterclockwise rotation with flexion of my right hip. So all I'm actually doing is I'm going to be tucking my pelvis on the left, turning my lower torso or my belly button to the left, and that is going to bring the arm into position. So in this position, both my upper and lower torso are turning to the left and my right hip is flexing. I then move to ward off by extending my left hip, and that's going to project my right arm out with kind of an expanding energy. So my upper torso and lower torso continue turning counterclockwise as I extend my left hip, and it projects the left arm out. Now I'm going to turn the upper and lower torso from counterclockwise to clockwise. This transition motion is not labeled in grasp the sparrow's tail, but it is actually the motion of shoulder strike, where I'm extending my left hip and turning the upper and lower torso away from the left hip. Now I'm going to sink back and roll back, continuing to turn my upper and lower torso to the right or clockwise, and I'm going to flex my right hip at the same time, and it's going to sink my weight backwards, and also at the same time bring my arms down, and this would be like an arm bar or a sweep that I'd be doing with my arms, taking somebody's arm and bringing it down, putting pressure on the elbow. But it seems like my waist is turning to the left, and if you watch any videos on rollback, you'll see it described as turning the waist to the left, because we always know there's rotation that's required for each movement in Tai Chi. But I'm not in fact turning to the left, I'm actually turning to the right with my torso. It's just that my weight is transferring from this side to that side, so it appears that I am turning to the left at the same time. So I'm actually turning actively everything to the right as I flex and sink into that right hip. That's the motion of rollback. Everything is turning to the right into this right hip as it sinks. At that point, I'm going to now transition from rollback, and I'm going to turn my lower torso to the left, and then I'm going to turn my upper torso to the left, and now I'm prepared for press. So remember, I started with clockwise rotation of the upper and lower torso. I'm continuing that clockwise rotation, and then I transition my lower torso to counterclockwise, and then my upper torso to counterclockwise. It's very difficult to see this motion visually, which is why it's almost never described. People just say, well, roll back, and then we do this, and then we press forward. You never hear what the this is. So let me do this from the side position this way. We have ward off. Everything in my waist is turning counterclockwise. The transition, where now everything is turning clockwise. Roll back, where everything is continuing to turn clockwise. Now I turn my lower torso counterclockwise, and then now I turn my upper torso counterclockwise. So in this position, preparing to press forward, everything in my torso is turning this way, counterclockwise. My right hip is flexing. Now I'm going to shift forward and press. Let me turn this way again. I'm going to shift forward and press. I'm flexing my left hip, and I'm turning my upper torso clockwise and my lower torso counterclockwise. So it appears like a straightforward motion, but I actually have clockwise rotation here and counterclockwise rotation here, giving you that straightforward motion. That's press. Now I'm going to continue the same rotation of the abdomen or the waist, and I'm going to take this left hip and move it from flexion to extension, and that transitions press to push. And that's how you can tell or distinguish that energy difference between flexion and extension. In flexion, I get to here, by extending the hip, it opens the arm up. I didn't do anything different with the waist rotation to make that happen. Now I'm going to push down. This was the same push down that I did in brush knee, pushing down and back, but it's coming from a different position. From here, it's the same motion. I'm turning my upper torso counterclockwise, my lower torso clockwise as I extend my right hip. And now I'm going to reverse and extend my left hip, and my upper torso is going to turn clockwise. My lower torso is going to turn counterclockwise. So it appears again that I'm moving straight forward, but it's really a combination of two different rotations going against each other. So I'm going to push back and down, and then push forward and up. It looks like my spine is not rotating, but my spine just went through two rotations back and forth in order for that to happen. Let's demonstrate grasp the sparrow's tail from the side view again. Let's do it from forward view. Let's do it from side view in this direction. Now I'm going to do the sequence and call out each of the 8 techniques as I go through them. In this position, I am in split. I step out using press. I rotate up using elbow strike, shift forward with ward off, turn the arms out using shoulder strike, shift back using roll back, begin to roll the left arm back using split, connect the arms using elbow strike, shift forward using press, push forward using push, push back using push, and push forward using push. The 3 different pushes are transitioning from right hip to left hip to right hip between the 3 different motions. But they're really the same energy, just going in opposite directions. Now, that execution or that version of Grasp the Sparrow's Tail uses 7 of the 8 techniques. There's a different version where we step out in a different manner that's actually going to use all of the 8 techniques at the same time, and I'll demonstrate that. You'll see this variation done in other places. So when I step out, if I have the carry the ball position, what I'm going to do is pluck to start the movement. Meaning I'm turning clockwise with my upper torso, counterclockwise with the lower torso. That gets the motion started, and then I complete the motion by turning the lower torso to the right or clockwise, and that is going to complete the ward off. So I'm using pluck in that variation of Grasp the Sparrow's Tail. I'll do that forward. I step out from the ball carry position. I start the motion with pluck. And then when I change my lower torso rotation, it expands my arm out, giving me ward off. Then I transition through the other motions in the same manner as I did before, and that's going to be the 8 full techniques of Tai Chi, all utilized in one sequence.